The envelope waits on the counter like it knows it doesn't belong. Ivory, thick as gilt, sealed with the river's crest in dark blue wax. My father's taste always theatrical, always cold. I've been staring at it for 23 minutes. Long enough for the tea to go cold, long enough for the silence to settle over the apartment like a verdict. I should open it, but something about seeing my name in that handwriting, deliberate, expensive, cruel, locks up my throat. Carmen doesn't knock. She never does. The door swings open, and she enters like the wind with a mission heels sharp against the hardwood, scarf the color of wet blood. She spots the envelope instantly. Of course she does. You're not going to open it? She asks, setting her bag on the kitchen stool. I know what it says. You always say that. She pours herself tea without asking. But this time, I think you might want to read the fine print. I sigh. I don't want to. But I do. I pick it up. It's heavier than it should be. The paper smells like cedar and debt. Inside. Come home for Christmas. Your mother wants to see you. Franklin. No love. No, please. Just the command, sealed in formality. His handwriting hasn't changed, still slashing through my name like he's been trying to erase it for decades. He wrote it, I say. Eleanor didn't. Carmen frowns. Number, she hasn't written me anything in years. Not since. I don't finish. I don't need to. Carmen knows the timeline as well as I do. My mother started fading the same year. The estate was restructured. That's the word they used. Structured like a wall to keep me out. Carmen leans on the counter. You think she's really dying? I nod slowly. Not fast, but yes. And if I don't go now, she might forget your face, Carmen finishes. She's always more honest than I am. I sit. The chair is too cold. The room is too clean. My whole life here has been curated for peace. No photos, no clutter, no memories. Just glass and silence. That envelope doesn't belong in this world I've built. But neither, I suspect, do I. I don't want closure, I say. That's not what this island. I know, Carmen replies, softer now. You want proof. I nod again. Proof that she asked for me. That I'm not just the charity case. The afterthought. The adopted shadow they kept on the fringe. Carmen studies me the way she does when she's deciding whether to push or let me hang myself with silence. Do you need me to come with you? No, I say. But I need you to be here when I come back. Just in case I don't. She doesn't argue. She knows that house. She knows that man. She knows that going back isn't a visit, it's an excavation. I fold the letter, tuck it into my coat pocket, and text Daniel one word. Coming. The send button clicks like a trigger. Outside. The snow begins again. The house doesn't open, it looms. The iron gate creaks just wide enough for my rental to squeeze through. Gravel crackling beneath the tires like bones under snow. The driveway curves like a question mark toward a house that never had any answers. The columns are the same, the windows are the same. It's me who changed. I kill the engine and sit for a moment. The air inside the car feels tighter than outside, like the house is already inside me again. I close my eyes. 3 deep breaths. That's all I allow myself. The front door opens before I reach the porch. Of course it does. Franklin waits in the threshold, tall, rigid, dressed like he's hosting a deposition instead of welcoming his daughter home. Navy sweater, white collar, no tie, still formal, still performing. You're early, he says. No, I reply. You're just late to acknowledge me. He steps aside. His version of an invitation. No hug, no warmth. Just space cleared, like furniture moved out of the way. I cross the threshold and feel my spine stiffen, as if the air demands better posture. My boots echo across the marble. The house still smells like lemon polish and silence. The foyer hasn't changed. The oil painting of his father still glowers from above the stairs. To the left, the grand piano no one plays. To the right, the sunroom where Eleanor waits. Franklin doesn't follow. He's made his move. Now it's my turn to step into the performance. The sunroom is warmer, at least in temperature. Eleanor sits wrapped in the shawl she used to wear at garden parties. Her hair is thinner, her frame smaller, but she holds herself like something important is resting in her lap, even if it's only a memory. Naomi, she breathes, part sigh, part apology. Her voice carries the weight of 2 years without a word. Mom. I kneel beside her chair, not in submission, but to meet her properly. Eye level. Woman to woman. She reaches out, and for a second I think she'll touch my face. But her hand hovers, then falls gently to my shoulder instead. You look different, she says. Not older, not beautiful, just different. A word with no edge and no softness. I nod like it's a compliment. I heard you were declining. I say. She gives a weak smile. I decline every day, dear. We all do. But I'm still here. Her eyes cloud for a moment. For now. I glance around the sunroom. The shelves are filled with Daniel's awards. His wedding photo. A glossy magazine with his face on the cover. My mother's garden paintings are gone. So is anything with my name. I see you redecorated. Her hand tightens slightly on my shoulder. He thought it would help me remember. Did it? Sometimes. A long silence settles. I want to ask why she never wrote back. Why she let them lock me out. But I don't. Not yet. I'm not here to beg for scraps. Footsteps behind us. Franklin again. His presence arrives before his words. We have rules this week, he says, voice clipped and polished. No drama, no surprises, no rewrites of the past. I turn to face him. Slow and deliberate. Then you should have burned the letters. Eleanor flinches. Franklin doesn't. He just narrows his eyes. We're not here to relitigate every hurt you've accumulated. No, I say. Just the ones that were legally binding. He doesn't respond. He doesn't need to. His silence is its own kind of threat. Then he turns and leaves, his shoes whispering across the marble like a serpent receding. Eleanor exhales. Would you like to see your room? No, I say quietly. It's not mine anymore. I already know it's been turned into a storage space. I saw the movers' boxes the last time I Googled the address. My childhood bed probably holds old tax files now. I stand, but something catches my eye. A sealed envelope in Eleanor's lap. She moves to cover it, but it's too late. I've seen the name on it. My name. She holds it tighter now, her fingers whitening. What's that? I ask, my tone soft but unmovable. Her lips part, but no sound comes. Just that half smile of hers, the one she uses when she wants to pretend everything's still lovely. I don't press. Not yet. But my mother's holding something. And not just the letter. Maybe the truth. Franklin believes in structure. That's why dinner is at 7 sharp, not 6:59. Never 7:1. The table is set like a courtroom. Silver placed with surgical precision, napkins folded like contracts, everything laid out and waiting to be broken. I arrive last, as expected. Not out of defiance, just to see what's changed. The chandelier flickers slightly. It's always been too bright, like it's daring someone to squint. The table is set for 6, but only 5 chairs are filled. The 6th is mine. Daniel rises when I enter. He looks good. He always does. Hair slightly tousled, blazer over a soft navy sweater, wearing the easy grin of a man who knows which fork to use and which lies work best. Naomi, he says, like he's glad I came. Grace doesn't rise. She sips her wine, her manicured hand hovering just above the stem. She gives me the kind of nod wealthy women give to doormen or dogs polite, but entirely conditional. Naomi, Franklin says, gesturing to the empty chair. Sit. I dough. Slowly. The cushion is too firm. The air is too tight. The silence clings to the silverware. Eleanor is here, of course wrapped in a shawl, her smile vague, her eyes a little lost. I can tell she dressed herself tonight. The brooch is pinned backward. Daniel launches into a story, something about a merger, funding, global reach. His voice is too bright, performed. He's tap dancing on a minefield, hoping no one steps too hard. I pour myself water. I don't ask for wine. I don't need to be softened. Halfway through the roast, Franklin clears his throat. That sound, I remember it from childhood. It meant the performance was over, and judgment was coming. Your mother is happy you're here, he says, even if you arrived unannounced. I tilt my head. I was invited. By whom? He asks, feigning confusion. I don't recall extending one. Your letter had your name on it, I say. Unless you've started forging her handwriting too. The room stills. Even the chandelier seems to flicker more softly. Daniel chuckles too quickly. Dad's joking, Naomi. Don't take it personally. Franklin sets down his fork precisely. Then turns to me. His voice is smooth, polished like glass just before it shatters. You're not invited to Christmas. The words fall like silver onto porcelain. Cold, final, loud in their quiet. Eleanor closes her eyes. Grace shifts in her chair. Daniel stares at his plate like it's a script he didn't study for. I don't blink. I don't move. I let the words sit between us like a body. Then I smile just slightly. Understood, I say. I rise, fold the napkin, leave it beside the untouched plate. I walk the length of the table, every step deliberate. My heels echo like a gavel. No one stops me. As I pass Eleanor, she reaches a ghost of movement. Too late. I don't slam the door. I don't cry. That would be for someone who wanted back in. I step into the hallway and let the silence settle over me like old snow. My phone is already in my hand. I text Carmen. Transfer the money. Now. The send button clicks. And just like that, the game begins. The room they gave me isn't mine. It never was. It was always the guest room. Even when I lived here full-time, a space meant for visitors. Dressed in floral bedding, absent of photos. Not of me. Not of anyone. No fingerprints. No memory. Franklin's version of hospitality. Clean, impersonal, and easy to erase. I sit at the small writing desk by the window. The chair wobbles slightly beneath me. Everything in this room is either too old or too untouched. It smells faintly of lemon polish and abandonment, a scent that feels oddly familiar. My laptop hums to life. The glow of the screen is the only light in the room. Outside, the snow thickens, softening the world beyond the glass. It's the kind of snowfall that makes time feel paused or buried. I log into the transfer portal. Carmen's already prepped the account. Lucille's name appears. Grant, Lucille M. routing number confirmed. Account verified. 50万美元. The cursor blinks beside the amount like it's daring me to hesitate. I don't. I type in the sum, double-check it, and click submit. A soft chime confirms the transfer. It's done. $500,000 gone in 4 keystrokes. Not for revenge. Not even for justice. For truth. Lucille earned more than money. She earned my trust long before I knew what trust was. My phone buzzes. Carmen? Are you sure about this? That's not petty cash, Naomi. I stare at the message. Then reply. Me. It was never about the money. It's about what she knows. I lean back in the chair. The cushion doesn't give. It never did. Like everything in this house, it was built to hold its shape no matter who tried to settle into it. I close my eyes and remember Lucille's hands. Gentle. Worn. Always smelling of almond oil and cloves. She used to braid my hair while Eleanor sat across the room, sketching wildflowers she never finished. Lucille was the one who told me I was easy to love. Not pretty. Not smart. Just easy to love. No one else ever said that. Not once. The memory tightens my throat. I let it. I've stopped pushing things down. I glance around the room. The wallpaper is still that same faded cream, trimmed with a floral border that was already outdated when I was 12. I remember once asking if I could paint the walls gray. Franklin had said, "It's not your room, Naomi. You just sleep here." Outside, the wind picks up. The snow turns sideways against the glass. I scroll to Lucille's last message. "We need to talk. I remember everything. Everything." I type out a reply. Me. "I'm coming tomorrow." Then I look out the window, into the white blur of the past, and whisper the one thing I've never said out loud in this house. Good. I find her upstairs, in the room that used to smell like turpentine and lilacs. Now it smells like time. The fire is low in the corner of the hearth. Eleanor sits by the window, a shawl wrapped around her like armor woven from fabric and forgetting. Her hands are clasped in her lap, as if protecting something fragile. Her gaze is fixed somewhere beyond the orchard, beyond the frost, maybe beyond me. I don't speak right away. The room feels like a confessional without the curtain. The silence between us has a spine. "I used to love this room," I say finally. "You let me sit in here when I had nightmares." Her eyes flicker, the kind of flicker you miss if you're not watching closely. "You always said the house was too loud at night." "It was." I pause. "It's still island." She doesn't answer. Her hand shifts slightly. The envelope, the one from the sunroom, is still there, tucked beneath the edge of the blanket, just visible. She hasn't let it go. I step forward, slowly, like I might startle something. "Is it for me?" I ask, voice steady. She doesn't speak, but she pulls it out, holds it with both hands, and passes it to me like it weighs more than paper should. Her fingers tremble. Mina don't. I sit across from her knees to knees, the envelope resting between us. It has my name on it. My full name. Not Naomi Rivers. Naomi Claire Rivers. The name she gave me when I was 9, the day the adoption papers were finalized. A name that was never used in public. A name Franklin corrected every time. Inside is a single sheet of pale blue stationery garden club letterhead. A scrap from a former life. I read it. It's not long, but it's the closest thing to the truth I've ever gotten from her. Naomi, I wanted you to know it wasn't my idea to keep you out. Not then. Not now. I know what they've done. I remember what Lucille told me. I remember the letter you sent. I know about the will. About the draft. I never meant for it to disappear. Franklin said it was better this way, that you were better off not being involved, but I didn't agree. I just didn't know how to stop him. I'm sorry. No signature. I'm sorry. It hits harder than a monologue. I fold it once, precisely, and slide it back into the envelope. When I look up, she's watching me. Why now? I ask. She blinks slowly. Because I don't have long left. And you think that makes this enough? Her shoulders drop, like the question itself steals some of her breath. I think it's all I have. The silence that follows isn't angry. It isn't even disappointed. It's just worn out. I wired $500,000 to Lucille last night, I say. She remembers everything too, and she still wants to talk. Eleanor's expression shifts. Subtle, but real. Not fear. Not guilt. Something closer to resignation. She kept notes, I add. Photos. Copies. Your signature. Mara's handwriting. I watch her. Still no panic. Just a long, slow exhale. Then I hope you do something with it. I study her, really study her. The way her body is folding in on itself. The way her voice no longer tries to rise above the walls Franklin built. You're not afraid of what will happen to him? She meets my eyes. Clearly, for once. I'm afraid of what it cost you to survive him. That lands harder than I expected. I pocket the letter, not because I forgive her, but because I might need it as evidence, or an anchor, or both. I stand. She does too, shakily. We don't hug. We've never been good at the physical part, but her hand brushes mine as I pass, and it feels more honest than anything she's ever said aloud. As I close the door behind me, I hear her whisper something into the light of the window. Write your version, Naomi, before they try again to write it for you. I stand in front of Mara Klein's desk, palms flat on its polished surface. My fingers trace the stress lines in the wood as though this room, like everything Franklin built, is pressurized and brittle. Outside, rain blurs the courthouse silhouette. That courthouse used to make me feel small. Now I'm here with purpose. Mara shifts in her chair. Her eyes flick to the floor to ceiling piles of client files, each one a hushed confession. She isn't looking at me. I want the original draft of my mother's will, I say, voice steady. The one she changed in 2019. She inhales, lips pressing into a line. Naomi, there's only one will on record. I slide an email across the desk. This says otherwise. The header reads, Revised Beneficiaries, the 2nd of March, 2019. The paper trembles between us like a guilty truth. Mara takes a breath. Her spine bends. Just slightly. The first crack. That draft was never executed, she murmurs. No denial. Just reluctance. But it was signed, I say. By her. A legal draft witnessed, dated. It names me executor. She looks up for the first time. And there it is, panic, flickering just behind her composed facade. She was trained to argue facts not lie through omission. Her fingers tap the desk once. Twice. Franklin ordered me to destroy it, she says flatly. He didn't want you involved. Said it would complicate things. The air sharpens. Betrayal isn't abstract. It's a warm lever against bone. So you broke the law, I say, quiet and clean. A statement, not a question. She swallows. The reflection in her glasses hides the depth of her fear. I know. Maybe I thought I was protecting Eleanor, her voice trails, then returns smaller. But I didn't protect her. I helped bury her. I pull a USB drive from my coat pocket. Then help me resurrect what's been buried. Her breath catches. She opens a drawer and slides a matching USB across the desk. It's everything, she says. Signature page, notes, Metadata, backed up in my private files. My heart knocks against my ribs. This isn't just legal leverage. It's emotional exhumation. I could go to the police, I say, turning the drive between my fingers. But I'd rather not dig that deep. You won't need to, she says. It's enough. It's your leverage now. I nod. My mother's intent, preserved in a file. Not just a victory vindication. I slip the drive into my jacket and straighten. The chair screeches across the tile as I step back, no apology in the sound. Mara watches me. Naomi, be careful what you do with this. I meet her eyes. I intend to do exactly what needs doing. Then I leave. Rain spatters against the window like frantic applause. And I know this. The next move is mine. Lucille looks smaller than I remember. Not frail, just reduced. Like the world has taken more than its share from her and left the rest behind. She sits wrapped in a quilt patterned with tulips and thyme. Her gloves are wool. Her eyes are sharp. Nothing about her softens except her voice. Naomi Claire Rivers, she says as I approach, the corners of her mouth lifting. You always walked like you had something in your coat worth hiding. I did, I say, settling beside her on the bench. Mostly notes I wrote to myself, just in case I forgot who I was. She laughs short, breathy, then presses a worn envelope into my hand. You can stop writing notes now. The envelope is old, but carefully preserved, wrapped in plastic. The handwriting on the front is unmistakable, my mother's. Not Franklin's version of her. Not the Eleanor the world saw. But her. Before the forgetting? Before the erasure? You kept this, I say quietly. I keep all the things people want burned, she replies. It's how women like us survive. I open it, slowly. The paper inside is yellowing, but the words are bold. It's a letter dated 2019, postmarked but never mailed, addressed to me. In it, Eleanor outlines her decision to revise the will. Her voice is clearer here than it's been in years. Lucid, deliberate. She calls me her daughter. Not adopted. Not granted. Just daughter. It ends with, this family cannot continue to run on secrets. I want you to inherit the truth. I fold it back with shaking hands. My throat burns. Lucille watches me, silent. I tried to confront Franklin that year, she says. But he threatened me. Said I'd lose my pension. My housing. I had. Too much to lose. I don't blame you. I say. Because I don't, not truly. I blame myself, she replies. For not telling you sooner. For not giving you this the day she wrote it. You gave it to me now, I say. That's enough. She reaches beside her wheelchair and pulls out a small box. There's more. Inside are copies not just of the letter, but of the revised will draft, signed pages, and time-stamped digital backups. Photos of Eleanor reviewing documents in 2019. Notes in Lucille's looping script. Original left on desk. Disappeared 2 days later. Franklin told staff to deny its existence. Carmen said this would be enough to open an inquiry, I say. Mara's already cracking. Lucille nods slowly. He built his career on erasing people who couldn't afford to speak. She looks at me. But you can afford it now, Naomi. We sit in silence. The cold presses in. It's the kind of quiet that only exists between two people who remember everything and have nothing left to pretend. When did you know? I ask. That they were trying to cut me out? Lucille's voice drops. When Daniel started coming around more. Charming everyone. Whispering about estate plans, about image, about what family legacy should look like. I nod. Unsurprised. The golden sun with the hollow heart. She turns to me. Serious now. Don't just expose them, she says. Decide who you want to be when it's done. That lands harder than anything Franklin ever said. I take her hand. It's cold. Worn. Stronger than it should be. Like truth. Thank you, I whisper. For what? For keeping me alive in all the ways that mattered. She closes her eyes. The wind stirs the ivy behind us. And for the first time in years, I feel found. Franklin's study smells like secrets. Not the fresh kind, the kind that has fermented for years in wood grain and ash. The door isn't closed when I arrive. That's intentional. He wants to seem accessible. He wants to seem in control. I knock anyway. He looks up from his leather chair. A book is open in his lap, unread. His fingers rest along the spine like a warning. You're back, he says. I wondered how long you'd sulk. I wasn't sulking, I reply, stepping in. I was retrieving evidence. That lands. Barely. His expression flickers a twitch in the jaw, a subtle adjustment of his cuff. His tells are small. He's spent decades refining them. But I'm better than I used to be. He closes the book. Should I be concerned? That depends, I say. Is your conscience working today? He pours himself a whiskey. Doesn't offer me one. That's also a message. I sit without permission. I saw Lucille, I say. She remembers everything. He lifts the glass, sips. I imagine she does. She gave me the letter. The one Eleanor wrote. The one you kept from me. Eleanor was unwell, he says, too quickly. Confused. You can't take the ramblings of… It wasn't rambling, I interrupt. It was dated, signed, witnessed, and so was the revised will. He sets the glass down. Carefully. And what exactly do you plan to do with it? Whatever I want. The words fall between us like a loaded weapon. He leans forward, voice low and controlled. Naomi, you think you've unearthed something buried, but you're digging in a graveyard that already belongs to you. I tilt my head. Then why are you afraid? He straightens. I'm not. You should be. The silence stretches, tight and brittle. Then he moves stands, walks to the tall bookshelf behind his desk, opens a drawer, pulls out a file. When he turns, he holds it like a final move he's been waiting to play. This, he says, is your adoption file. I go still. He sets it down between us. I never opened it, I say. No, he replies. But perhaps you should have. Not all secrets belong to me. I stare at the folder. It doesn't belong in this conversation. Or maybe it does. Maybe this is his defense, a distraction dressed as revelation, cruelty dressed as strategy. Why now, I ask? Because you're making demands, he says. And I want you to remember you're not immune to being exposed. I don't touch the file. That's what he wants for me to reach first. To flinch. But I see it now. The game. This isn't just about inheritance. It's about erasure, mine. And his. I rise. I'm not afraid of who I was, I say. But you should be afraid of what I've become. I walk out. My hands are shaking, but my spine doesn't break. In the hallway, Daniel is waiting. He leans against the banister like it's casual. But his face is tight. He heard everything. You really want to tear this family apart? He asks. I meet his eyes. Number, I want to put it back together with the truth this time. He scoffs. You think truth is glue? You were always too romantic about that. I'm not romantic anymore, I say. I'm forensic. His smile is thin. We'll see how long that lasts. And then he slips past me, into the study, and closes the door behind him. I keep walking, because I've already started the avalanche. The air here tastes like memory. I push open the studio door. It doesn't squeak, it sighs. Dust motes rise in the pale winter light. It's been years since I walked these boards. They're splintered at the corners like my faith that this place would stay mine too. But the paint still smells. Raw. Honest. Eleanor stands before a canvas too heavy to bear its meaning fully. The painting is of a mother and child, drenched in shadow, half-formed light. The mother's face is rendered with tender precision. The child's is blank. Not unfinished, missing. Like a wound. She doesn't see me at first. She's wrestling with the brush, trying to decide whether to finish the face or leave it untouched. Either choice says something. I clear my throat. The sound rasps, echoing through the stillness. She turns. The look in her eyes is both recognition and sorrow. The brush slips from her fingers and falls onto a cracked palette, the colors swirling, confused. You came back to watch me erase myself, she whispers. Or finish something that was always half here, I reply, softer than I mean to be. The silence stretches, brittle. I step closer, careful not to disturb the still life of broken tools. The canvas is a mirror, only I'm not sure what it's reflecting. Why no face? I ask. She lifts her hand to the blank space. Her fingers hover, uncertain. Because I didn't know who you were. Not really. I still don't. My chest tightens. The words are simple, but they land like a verdict. A family made of facades and unfinished paintings. I say, kept hidden long enough, invisibility becomes your only identity. She exhales, eyes fluttering closed. Your father said it was better that way. I flinch not from surprise, but recognition. In that house, everything but erasure seemed dangerous. I glance around. In the corner, framed portraits are stacked. Images of Daniel only. Smiling, standing, centered. No trace of me. Another erasure. I steady my voice. I know you knew. About the will. The adoption. She looks at me, really looks for the first time in years. I did, she admits. But I was drowning in fear. His fear. I loved him. And I feared him more. I thought silence was safety. Safety killed us, I say. And nearly killed me. Tears shimmer in her eyes. She reaches for the brush again. Not heavy with paint, heavy with meaning. Maybe it's time to put a face on what we've always left unfinished, she murmurs. She touches the canvas. Her fingers smear pale pigment across the blank space. It doesn't form anything, not yet. But it shifts something. It makes room. The space isn't empty. It's waiting. I swallow. The quiet returns not hollow, but full. Grief, longing, the ache of truth trying to surface. This room used to feel like escape, I say. Now it feels like confession. Eleanor nods. And for a moment we're not mother and daughter. We're two unfinished people, trying to draw ourselves whole again. Snow clings to the window panes in thick, heavy flakes. Outside, the forest is silent, as if the world itself is waiting for what I'm about to do. I stand under the faint glow of a single hanging bulb, watching Alex from across the room. He hasn't offered me a seat, or water, or a word of welcome. He's just there. Still. Watching. Like the room itself is holding its breath. You're not afraid, I say. Not an accusation, just an observation. He shrugs, the kind of shrug built from damage and endurance. People used to say that about you. His hand moves to his beard, rough and absent. His eyes flick to a stack of brittle documents on the desk. What I kept in the cabin might finally put things to rest. I step closer. The wood beneath my boots creaks, a reminder of how long this place has held secrets. Alex kneels, pulls back a worn rug, and lifts a loose plank from the floor. A hidden fault. Primitive. Effective. He withdraws a battered portfolio and sets it down between us. Inside, Eleanor's original will, signed in her deliberate script. And a memory card labeled only with a date. A recording, he says. Franklin. Pressuring Mara to destroy the revision. You'll hear his voice cold, clipped, like a scalpel. I smile thin and sharp. This is it. Everything they buried now looks me in the eye. He didn't think you'd ever fight back, Alex says quietly. He remembered the girl who stayed quiet, not the woman who came back with fire. Maybe not, I say. But he never knew I wouldn't. Alex hands me a flash drive. His fingers tremble, slightly, age or memory. I can't tell. We're both older than we were the last time we stood on opposite sides of a truth. Why keep it? I ask. Why not use it when it mattered? He stares at the floorboards, then lifts his gaze. Silence. But not the empty kind. The cost, he says. To remember is painful, but to forget, you almost lose everything. I slip the drive into my jacket pocket. It's not just leverage. It's legacy. Proof that memory can be a weapon and a salve. Outside, the trees lean closer. Snow muffles the world. And for the first time in a long time, something settles in my chest. Not kite peace, but maybe the beginning of resolution. Alex nods toward the door. Doesn't follow. Safe travels, he says. But be ready, not everything else is as quiet as this cabin. I open the door. Cold air rushes in like a breath held too long. I step outside. The winter hits my face sharp, clean, real. Behind me, the past has been unburied. Ahead, the storm waits. And I'm ready. I stand near the windows, watching snow gather in slow, silent drifts on the lawn. The house I built to keep history at arm's length feels different now, less a sanctuary, more a war room. Erica Silva emerges from the shadows near the desk, quiet and deliberate, still in her leather jacket. Eyes sharp, sleepless maybe, but never off guard. Here, she says, setting a manila folder in front of me. Confidential, redacted, official. A prelude to heavy truths. I open it. My heartbeat stays steady, but the room hums with the weight of what's inside. She leans back against the desk, arms crossed. Daniel's offshore accounts, 3 of them. Transfers routed through Guernsey, then the Caymans. Shell Company, Goldhaven Holdings LLC. I flip the pages. Figures, transfers, transaction trails. Greed rendered in ink. Your father's fingerprints are there too. She slides another sheet forward, internal memos, undocumented favors, old court decisions that never saw the light. I look up, catch my own reflection in the window. Naomi Rivers stares back but sharper. A version carved by betrayal and held together by purpose. How far back does this go? I ask. 25 years, she says. There's a pattern, it's not error, it's architecture. I shove the chair back and start pacing. The tension in the room thrums like the low hum before a power surge. If I make this public, it becomes national, Erica says. You don't just win the will, you dismantle the dynasty. I stop mid-step. I didn't plan to be a wrecking ball. But you are one now. Her voice doesn't rise, doesn't press. She says it like a fact, like gravity. I sit again, fold the report. Truth becomes strategy. I slide the documents into a new envelope. The label reads, Mediation File. I'm ready for mediation, I say. She nods. Then, let's schedule it. A silence settles, not hollow, just full of things about to break. Truths waiting to detonate. Names ready to be named. I glance at the wall, red thread crisscrossing dates, documents, faces. A family legacy unraveling. Outside, snow continues it quiet descend. Inside, I lift my chin. The next move is mine. The fog curls around the birches, swallowing silhouettes one by one. But Joanna stands clear. Her name came before her in headlines, op-eds, bylines too sharp to ignore. Now she leans against my hybrid, arms crossed over a worn notebook. Poised. Impatient, like the next sentence is already inked and waiting for breath. I approach without a word. My bones make more noise than I want them to. She doesn't straighten. Doesn't need to. You came, she says. Not a greeting. A fact. I nod. I have a choice to make. She smiles. Not warm. Efficient. I have your evidence open, she says, tapping the notebook. Ready to publish Monday. The fog crackles with tension. It smells of cold metal and unraveling stories. You know what you're holding, I say. This isn't paper, it's gravity. She glances at the file in my hand, Lucille's letter, the will, the recording, the bank records, the favors. A dossier made of buried truth. Yes, she says. I've seen what a legacy looks like when it cracks. I'm silent for a moment. I know what happens when the truth finds daylight. Some things surface. Others drown. She folds the notebook shut. Your father built an empire on image, she says. This is where it warps. Public exposure isn't destruction. It's the end of illusion. I press the file closer to my chest. The edges are cold. Sharper than I expected. You're not worried about backlash? I ask. She studies me. I've taken calls from Daniel's team. He offered me $300,000 to bury it. My breath stalls. A number that sounds like betrayal. Money again for silence. And, you didn't say yes, I finish. She shakes her head. The truth isn't a luxury you can lease, she says. I don't sell time. Something pulls tight in my chest. A strange thing, this feeling of being tethered to something bigger than myself. It's almost comfort. It's almost terrifying. Monday, I say. Front page? She nods. Or you can co-sign it. I meet her eyes, not for pride. Just to anchor myself in the coming storm. You'll get one last edit, she says. One chance to put your name on it. Silence rises. Thick with pine, fog, and something just beginning to burn. I'll give you that, I say. She opens the car door, pauses in the frame. Just know once he reads it, things get personal. I close my eyes. Not to hide. Just to brace. Yes, I whisper. Let them get personal. The fog isn't just a veil. It's cleansing. My heart steadies in the silence. The glass walls. The snow-covered trees. The long table is loaded with memory. None of it softens the weight in the room. This isn't a mediation. It's court. Confession. Reckoning. Franklin sits to the left, folded into a high-backed chair like a monument to his own authority. Eleanor rests to the right, small in her wheelchair, wrapped in shawls, her clarity flickering beneath tired eyes. Daniel and Grace flank him. Daniel's jaw is tight. Grace's stare is glacial. Mara sits with her notes clenched in her lap, pale, shaky. Erica stands behind me like a sentinel. Joanna is silent, recorder tucked away, waiting. I inhale. The calm before collapse. I step forward and place the final evidence folder on the table. This is the original will, I say. Signed, witnessed, suppressed. Franklin's gaze clamps onto mine granite hard. But he doesn't speak. I press play. The room fills with his voice. Get rid of the draft before Naomi finds it. Silence follows. Taut as piano wire. Daniel's face darkens. Grace looks away. Eleanor squeezes my hand warm but shaking. Her love is a tremor. He used me, Franklin mutters, brittle, to protect things. It isn't defense. It's a confession. I don't flinch. You used all of us to protect him. Daniel breaks formation. What do you want? I meet his eyes, not the golden sun, not the air, just a man cracked by his father's choices. I don't want the estate, I say. Grace stiffens. Her nostrils flare the smell of loss, not justice. I want your acknowledgments. Public. Legal. And my name restored. Daniel scowls. A man still clinging to the illusion of control. Joanna clears her throat. My article goes live tomorrow, she says. Unless you join her, the public comes to you tonight. Mata breaks. Her voice shakes with it. I'll testify, she says. I knew. I covered it for years. Franklin sags. Stone is cracking slowly. Eleanor leans forward. Her voice is thin but unwavering. She was always ours, she says. We just let a man forget that. The room doesn't erupt. It exhales. I inhale the moment, the layered breath of memory, betrayal, forgiveness, truth. All of it. And then I exhale. Step back. The avalanche has started. I stand alone by the fire pit. The sky above is ink black. Endless. Spindly birches cast long, skeletal shadows across the snow, silent witnesses to the end of a legacy. The forged will tremble in my fingers. It's lighter than it should be, paper thinner than the lies it once protected. It almost feels alive, like it might beg for its life. I drop it into the flames. The fire curls inward with a hiss. Ink blisters. Truth exhales. The flame devours words that were never real, never right. Heat roars against the night wind, rushing through me like blood newly freed. Daniel stands just beyond the edge of firelight. Snow halos his figure. His face is pale, unguarded. The look of a man who's never known how to lose with dignity. Happy now? He asks. His voice is too quiet for someone used to speaking over everyone. I keep my eyes on the fire, on the ashes that will outlive us all. No, I say. But I'm not sorry. Franklin steps into the circle of light. His cane hangs in his hand, less like a symbol of power, more like a crutch for something crumbling. Yesterday, his presence felt like an empire. Tonight, it's smoke and shadow. You think this makes you noble? He spits. The venom is thin, his eloquence rusted. You've shamed your mother. I laugh low, soft, broken. Number, I honored her truth. Yours just suffocated her. Eleanor sits nearby, wrapped in blankets like a memory still breathing. She hums a lullaby I haven't heard since I was small. It carries everything. Regret, apology, love, flashback. A childhood Christmas. I built a snowman alone. Daniel and Franklin laugh from the porch. Eleanor watches from inside, unable or unwilling to cross the space between us. Franklin's eyes narrow. And in that moment, I see it. This is what power looks like when it's finally alone. I step toward him, hand him the printed article front page. Bold blue headline. You have until midnight. Step down. Own what happened. Or it goes live. The silence that follows is cavernous. Daniel kicks at the snow. Aimless. Grieving. Grace stares off, the brittle facade of society shivering in the cold. This was never about you, Franklin growls. I turn to Eleanor. She reaches for my hand, frail but firm. You were always enough, she whispers. Her voice trembles like stained glass cracked, but still whole. The fire cracks louder, a punctuation between destruction and grace. My phone buzzes. A message. Franklin has stepped down. No statement. No rebuttal. Mara followed through. Quiet. Clean. Exactly what I asked. In the firelit yard, the house behind us feels far away now. A mausoleum of perfection I no longer owe anything. And I feel lighter. Not because the legacy is gone, but because it's finally brutally, beautifully honest. The fire consumes the will. And with it, The past rises into the midnight air, ashen and free. I stand in the living room where laughter once clung to the walls. Now, it's empty except for packed boxes and the scent of fresh pine. Sunlight filters through bare windows, catching frost-laced glass and casting diamond patterns across the floor. I breathe it in, a final exhale into a space that was never mine. Not really. Until now. Carmen is nearby, sealing the last box. Her movements are brisk, practiced. Her silence isn't tense. It's knowing. You still think about keeping the wine cellar? She asks. It's a joke, but there's no bite. Only the quiet warmth of deliverance. I smile. The kind that comes from the ribs, deep and honest. It was never mine. I place a signed transfer document on the table. It reads, I decline the inheritance. Everything reassigns to a trust. Lucille's name is on the deed now. Carmen reads the lines, then lifts her gaze. You gave it all away. It wasn't about the money. The words taste wild and clean, something feral, finally freed. It was built on a lie. A memory flickers. Me, a girl in pressed shoes. I watched Franklin at my graduation. He clapped, sure. But the pride in his eyes wasn't for me. It never had been. I pick up Eleanor's unfinished canvas. The one with the faceless figure. I lean it carefully into the passenger seat of my car. Not to preserve it. Not for proof. Not for punishment. I keep it as truth. Messy. Incomplete. Real. Carmen Huchsme. Tight. Her arms say more than words. They always have. Where to now? She asks. Anywhere they don't know the name Rivers. It rolls off my tongue like a match strike. Not a legacy. AA liberation. My phone buzzes. One final message. Franklin stepped down. No statement. Silence follows. A quiet victory. Sweeping. Unspoken. I back the car into the driveway, eyes forward. No glance at the rear view. The house disappears behind me. Not a monument, just a backdrop. I roll the window down. Dawn air rushes in, crisp and unburdened. The road ahead is untitled. I whisper into the wind. This time I'm the one writing the legacy.